didn't even introduce yourself.
I didn't even introduce myself. Wow, I knew going in.
We have to learn how to love kids.
I really learned myself.
85% of our calls are EMS.
And that's not only for police, but, it is for firefighters and 911 telecommunicators.
Our last guest is going to be a great show today.
Mm-hmm.
God said, come as you are, right?
You gotta go down memory lane. Oh, man. No, that was really cool.
Great conversation, you guys. Wow.
You know it feels so good.
All right, good morning, Joy 1340 AM listeners. We are back in the building. My name is Officer Ralph McClain. I am with the Milwaukee Police Department. I am with the Office of Community Relations, Engagement, and Recruitment, and I'm here with the illustrious co-host of mine.
Yes, sir. My name is Jordan Dickerson. I am one of the recruiters with the City of Milwaukee Fire and Police Commission, and we are back with episode 34 of The Conversation.
Welcome everyone back, and thank you all for the support, the listeners, each and every week. We keep on rolling here, and we have a couple of great guests in the studio here. We're going to get to talking to them about what they do in their story. But before we do that, as we always like to do, we like to let everyone in the city of Milwaukee know that we are hiring for police officers at the Milwaukee Police Department. The application is posted 11 months out of the year. Unlike in the past where you used to hear like every 2 to 3 years, there'll be a call put out and say, hey, we are hiring. But now 11 months out of the year, you can go in there, fill out the application. We have prep sessions for each step of the way. We are also presently hiring for our apprenticeship police aid position. That is for high school seniors who have aspirations to be a police officer or go into law enforcement and want a great job with great mentors and a great way to put that first foot inside of the door.
Yes, most definitely. And if you ever have any questions, you can feel free to text this number right here. It's 414-519-6190. Again, that's 414-519-6190. You can text that number, ask us any question. Myself and the other recruiter, we actually respond to those text messages directly. So don't be afraid to reach out to us. And another thing when it comes to, like I said, that police aid program, and understand we are hiring for fire cadet as well. So that's the same thing, another apprenticeship style program that we do, but it's more so on the fire side. But one thing I want to say, especially just for the youth out there, you may not know exactly what you want to do right now, and you may just be kind of like dibbling, dabbling in certain things. Don't be afraid just to try something, right? There's no hurt, there's no harm in trying something out. But also, when I was at the National Night Out yesterday, I was over there trying to recruit, get my young brothers out there, and I was seeing kids, and I'm like asking them, hey, is this something that you'll be interested in? And a lot of them, they was like, no, I'm not interested in it at all, which I responded that to me, that's perfectly fine, right? I want people to understand that when we're out here recruiting, when I'm out here talking to like some of the youth and honestly just some of the older people too, I just want to pick your brain a little bit and understand what your focus is. And if you already do have a focus, one thing that I was telling these young brothers out here is don't get distracted. Don't get distracted and make sure that you're surrounding yourself with the right people, because too many times we see these good guys who have a lot going for them and they surround themselves with the wrong people, and now they're leading down the wrong path because they followed this person and they have this negative influence. So just a quick word out there for the young people out there.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. And I do want to mention that we have more national nights coming up as well. District 7's was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal in Sherman Park, so that was great. Last night, Jordan and I were over, and God, I wish I could remember the name of the church, on 99th and Good Hope. Great people over there. District 4, Officer Resnick and Officer Genesee hosted the District 4 National Night Out over there. And then tonight we will be in District 6 over there, South 27th Street, right behind District 6, doing their National Night Out. I think it's from 4 to 8 p.m. And then tomorrow there'll be District 1. But yeah, you can go on the Milwaukee Police Department Facebook website, and it'll have the exact location there. Come on out.
Yes,
it's some long days. I love it. I love interacting and engaging with the community. It's always great. I mean, people typically see us in one aspect when we have to be out there and do enforcement. That's part of the job, of course, the number one part of the job, because we take an oath to protect our citizens out there. But it's always great to get out there and interact with the good folks in this community. Long hours. You know, I get in at 8, but you know, I just bear down and do what I need to do. You know?
Yep, that's sometimes that's what it takes.
You notice what I did there?
You bear down. I heard it. I just ignored it. Listen. The season is right around the corner. I can't wait. You know, we got a good quarterback in Jordan Love, so I'm not tripping.
Well, we would like to get to our guest today. We thank them for having the time to come into the studio to talk about their journeys and their time and growing up here in this great city of Milwaukee. First, I would like to introduce Mr. Anthony Staten. Mr. Staten is a graduate of Milwaukee Tech High School, class of '86.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There you go, brother. He's also a graduate of the University of Wisconsin La Crosse with a BA in marketing. He also earned his MBA from Keller Graduate School of Management. In the past, he's worked for Blue Cross Blue Shield, Marsh McLennan, and he has also, and are you still presently the Tech Alumni Association president, sir?
Until September 1st.
Till September 1st.
Until September 1st, we've already elected a new president, Dr. Jackie Mann.
Oh, right.
Oh, that's my godmom.
Yes, sir.
And I love the fact that, and we talked a little bit about this before coming on the show. You talked about your how you like to dress and your thing about wanting to wear a shirt and ties, because I see that this brother also in the past worked for Torrance House of Threads, somewhere where I shopped often.
Oh, yes. Elliot Torrance and I are first cousins.
Oh, okay, great.
So I spent 10 years behind the counters.
Great. We'll talk about that a little bit. Great. That's great. But we welcome you to the show, brother. And then, Jordan, here, you want to introduce our next guest?
Yes, sir. So now also I want to introduce, I love how, you know, we're now having multiple guests on the show,
yes,
right?
Sir.
So we have another amazing person and guest. We have here with us Cornelius Robinson, a.k.a. Corn. He said that's what everybody know him by, so I'm going to call him Corn.
Yeah.
He obtained his master's degree in 2018 from Columbia Southern University. In 1985, graduated from the University of Wisconsin, from Whitewater University. And you know, it's crazy. I actually graduated from Whitewater too.
Awesome.
So you know, we alumni in there. And you're also a Tech alumni too, right?
Purple and white.
There you go. They bleed it, man. They bleed it. He's a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. He is also a part of Milwaukee's basketball fraternity. And one thing that he put in his bio, he made sure of it. He said he is most proud that he is one of the founders of the Milwaukee Tech Cookout. He's 43 years and counting.
43 years, brother.
Right, and that's just
Wow.
truly amazing. So first, I just want to say welcome to you both. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right, how y'all doing first and foremost?
We're good.
All right,
Blessed.
I love to hear that.
It's a pleasure to be here.
That's good.
Man, it sounds like these guys from Milwaukee Tech, man, are some awesome guys.
Listen,
man.
I'm telling you, I don't know what it is.
Doing
And
the thing, huh?
I really just want to dive right into it, and I'm sure that this is going to kick us off and lead us in so many different other conversations. But the reason why I wanted you two on this radio show, this conversation with us, is because I was telling you guys I went to the Tech reunion that y'all just had. When was it? A couple of weeks ago or so?
It's always Father's Day weekend.
Okay, so yeah, so y'all had it back then, and I went there, and I pull up to this park, and I just see all these different like tents and food, and all these different people gathering together, and I'm just sitting there shocked that like year after year, you're able to pull off this amazing reunion, this amazing class reunion for high school, right? Yep. And I always tell people, like, you know, as a young kid, my mom, she used to take me to these Tech reunions, and I didn't really understand like the importance or like how big they really were until I graduated high school, and I realized how out of touch you come with a lot of people that you went to high school with. But yet you guys were able to create this amazing reunion and just bring everybody else together. And I just kind of wanted to get more information on like how did that all start? What made you even want to do something like that?
Okay, first of all, I would say the real genesis of all of this and how it really started had to do with the students, the faculty, and the staff.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, you had good students. We had good people in our school. You had to have the grades to come to Milwaukee Tech. You had to have at least a 2.5 or 3.0 coming out of junior high school to come there. So initially, we already had the cream of the crop.
Right.
You know, we had good people. Then we had counselors and teachers and coaches who cared about us. And even to this day, when you came to the cookout, you saw some of the teachers there, some of the administrators and the coaches. Even to this day, we keep in touch with them. So that's initially how it started. But then I'm jumping to the cookout itself.
Yeah.
1981 was the first one. Okay, it was at Smith Park, directly across the street from my house. Okay, the class of 1980 and the class of 1981, we got together after graduation and said, man, let's get together, man, let's do something. We walked across the street from my house with a couple of raggedy grills, a boombox, and a bunch of food, and that's how it jumped off. We had such a good time, and we said, man, let's do this again next year. And we kept, and 43 years later, we're still here.
Now, real quick, so that first time happening, how many people was it? Was it just a couple of people? Like, what was it like?
No, I mean, we had, I would say we had about 60 people.
60 people.
We had about 60 people, man, and I mean, no internet.
Yeah.
All word of mouth, leg work. I mean, for many, many years before social media, it was all word of mouth, leg work, mostly mine. I would run around and collect $20 from people. You know, we would earn about $700, and we would make it happen. And that happened for years and years until this man found me.
And I want to lead into that too. So you had it running for years, and then at some point, you know, you found you had to have a partner in a sense.
Right. Well, let me take a step back first of all. We had a committee. Okay. Okay. And I want to give a shout out to Carolyn Johnson, Willie Eubanks, Greg Jones. These were the guys on the committee, the first committee, and that's how we started it. And we, like I said, we would just put the word out, and we would make it happen. And we did that for a good 25 years, 20 years, until he came on board.
Okay, got you. So now we fast forward to you coming on board. How did that whole thing kind of transpire, and what made you even like want to do it and have that passion for it too?
Well, I'd always heard about the cookout, but because I was so busy working, trying to build my business, I said, "Oh, I'll go at some point," but I would never go. Finally, I said, "You know what? I'm gonna go," because I keep hearing people tell me. Yeah. So I decided to call him up one day and say, "Listen, I would like to join you guys," and I said, "I'll come out and I'll bring a grill." He said, "Yeah, okay." Okay. He was always used to people saying they're gonna do something,
right? And not
doing it. And so I went and came out to the park and brought my grill and everything and some food and so forth. And so from that point on, I had such a great time. I had even bought some Eric Benet tickets. I was supposed to go see Eric Benet that night. And I ended up going to the concert, but I hated that I had to go to the concert because I was having such a great time.
Oh, okay.
I said, man, I got these tickets. I said, well, I don't want them to go to waste. And I went to the concert, but I said, I'll never, ever plan another event the night of at the same time. And from that point on, I was lured in because I had such a great time. And I said, man, this is what I've been missing all these years. And I said, I want to be a part of it. Yeah. And then that's where it started with me.
See, those are some wonderful stories. And I hate that I missed my reunion. So I'm out of the class of '88. But I went to high school in Chicago. Okay. But that's never went to.
You just slipped out. That's a slipped out. Sorry.
Never went to a reunion. I remember about maybe 10 years out looking into it, and you know there was nothing I could find or whatever. Then at that point, I think, of course, I moved up to Milwaukee here, like in the mid '90s or whatever, or mid to late '90s. And then I just left it alone, so they could have had reunions. When you went back to school, to the reunion, was it the 5 or 10 year reunion when you first went back to the first reunion that you had after you graduated?
Yeah, mine was a 10 year.
10 year, and what about yours?
When I went back, I went back in, man, it had to be in 2000 and, this is 24. about like 2012. So I had been out of school for many years. We have had other reunions where my class had gotten together.
Okay.
But we hadn't been to it where it was all class.
okay.
That's the difference.
Right.
This was an all class.
How long ago was it? I mean, how long did that time from the time you graduated to the class?
To the all class?
No, just the one class got together.
Oh, we got together for our 10-year.
Okay. So how? It's a question for both of you. When you went to that reunion, your class, you got back together. What was that feeling like after not seeing everyone for so long, and you went back that first time? What was that feeling like?
You know what? The weird part about it here, with especially with Milwaukee Tech, we see each other all the time. Most of us see each other all the time. I mean, we're in close contact with each other. Most of the guys I hang out with is from class of '81.
I see.
And then we're always in close contact with each other. Now, some of the Southsiders, it was good to see them. And now that after the reunion, now we've been keeping in contact with each other.
I see.
I get together with the football team like once a year. We get together at one of the local bars on the south side. We still do our thing. This is outside of the cookout.
Yeah.
I go by my coach's house maybe once every 6 months. I'll sit back with him and just sit in his backyard and have a beer with him. I mean, that's how close we are. We're a family.
It seems that way, and that's what's great, because you always think of reunions and you don't see your classmates or people till like 5, 10 years later, 15. But you, like you say, you in touch with them all the time. So when y'all get together, it's just a big party.
Yeah.
All right.
Was it kind of like the same experience for you going back to that 10 year that you already had like contact with them, or was that something where you're like, oh, this is my first time seeing some of these people in a while?
Well, it was both.
Okay.
Because I had saw individuals on a consistent basis, because we're very fond of the relationships that we have and that we've built. We're just it's something, always hear people say, it's something that you wouldn't understand,
right,
or whatever the case may be, and that's how I truly feel. We just have a bond that's unique. And when we got to the 10, there were other people that I hadn't seen before, which made it even better.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's something about being a Tech alum that, you can look back and say, not only were we good in sports, but we had the education piece. It's rare that you can go to a school where, everybody that has both. Either they're very, good in academics, but their sports may not be here.
Yeah.
Or the sports is good and vice versa. So we had both, man, and we had great coaches, and it goes back to what you guys do for our community. What are we doing for the community? And that's what pivots us to do what we do, because we want to give back and show that, it's more than just a cookout for us.
Yeah.
It's to also show that the other youth that it's about relationships and building and staying a part of the community.
Oh, excellent. And this is a question for both of you gentlemen. During your time at Tech there, what teacher, whether it's a coach, teacher, or guidance counselor, who stuck out in your mind, who was just like that person that was real impactful during your time there?
Well, with me, absolutely Coach Parkins. He was my mentor. I remember back in the days when you guys won't remember this, but there was a bus strike, and you would have to, either catch a ride with somebody else or ride the bike. Some people just rode the bike all the way to school. There were some days he would pick me up. There were some days he would drop me off after school. This is my coach. He lived way on the south side, I'm way on the north side. He would pick me up, and then he gave me my first job too. I used to work after, but this is something else here, right? I would show up at school at 8 o'clock in the morning. Practice would start at 3. Practice would end maybe 5:30 or 6. Then there's a Muni basketball league there. It was like a semi-pro league there. I would work the scorer's table at the Muni league. I wouldn't get out of there till 10 o'clock at night. I would be at school from 8 in the morning to 10 p.m. So I was there all the time. And like I said, he gave me my first job. He taught me how to drive. I would get in this car, he would drive me around. And I practiced driving. So yeah, he was my mentor. Very, very impactful.
Lifetime skill.
Yeah.
Man, I want to get you first, and then I do actually have something, but go ahead.
I would say for me, It was Coach Konowalski and Coach Budish from the football team.
Coach Konowalski. He used to coach at Marshall too,
Yes,
didn't he?
yes,
Yep,
he
I
did.
know him. Yep.
Yeah,
Coach my brother.
Coach Kono was tough. Looking
Yeah.
back at the time, he used to make me so mad and so forth. But looking back at it, I understood why he was doing what he was doing, and it paid off.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's like that drill sergeant.
Yeah.
You know, he was only looking out for our best interests
Yeah.
and molding us to be men.
And I was just about to say, and that's the key part about coaches. Like the really good coaches, you understand, they don't just coach football, right, or basketball, or
No.
whatever sport you're in. They coach you how to be men. They coach you how to prepare for life.
Yes.
And I think that's a really big thing. The thing that I want to touch on is something that I'm getting from just the vibe and just your experience is that there's a lot of love. And y'all received a lot of love from other people, and a lot of people showed you love and took that extra step to be there and to help and to mentor you.
Absolutely.
And it brings me back to this Bible in Luke, and it is with the Good Samaritan. And there's this person, and he's pretty much he knows the law, like he knows it really well. He asks Jesus, and he's like, hey, like, what must I do to inherit, eternal life? And then Jesus is like, well, you're a law person, like you know the law. Just tell me, what do you think? What do you think it is? And then he said, love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. He also said, and love thy neighbor with, as you love yourself. And then Jesus is like, oh yeah, that's absolutely right. That's what you're supposed to do. And then the person, he's like, well, who's my neighbor? Like, who's considered a neighbor? He was asking that question because he wanted to justify himself and like not actually having to help everybody in a certain degree. And then this illustration goes down. He breaks down the story about this man who gets robbed and he gets beaten. And he's left on the side of the road. And you have two people that walk past him and they don't show him no type of love. And then that other person that comes by, and then that other person actually stops. And not only does he stop and help that person, he bandages up the wounds. He gets the person, he puts him on his horse or his donkey. He takes him back to this inn. He pays for this person to get well. He spends the night with this person, paying for him to get well. He decided, hey, I gotta leave. I got something else to do, but I'm gonna give the innkeeper this money, and I want you to take care of it. And it's just that whole story. It just goes to show about the love that you actually extend to people to a further degree, right? And I believe that sometimes in the world we like to live in a society where like, okay, like I love my neighbor, but I'm only doing it because I'm obligated to love him. And it's not real true love. That whole illustration, what it shows us is that love goes beyond. There's not a limit to love, right? Like if I genuinely love you, I am going to pick you up and take you to school. I'm not just gonna invite you to a church. I'm gonna say, you know what? If you need a ride, where you stay at, I'm gonna go over there and pick you up, and we gonna drive you together. It's about those going the step beyond to actually make an impact and showing that love. And I just think it's an amazing thing that you guys were able to get that from Tech. And like I said, you can see that breathing through some of the cookouts and the reunions that you guys do.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, it's amazing. I do actually also want to touch on another aspect. So you guys are business owners. You have, I know one big thing that you you got a couple of them, don't you, right?
Yeah, my main focus is I have a school, CDL training, where I
Yeah, there you
train
go.
men and women to drive semi-trucks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my biggest one. I also have a hair salon and barber shop. But the biggest one that I use as a vehicle to help those who don't want to go to college and still have a livable wage is to get them into the trucking industry because there's a lot of money in that industry.
It's a wonderful job.
You
Yeah,
know,
I used to do that.
Did you?
Before I came on the
Mhm.
department. Yeah, so.
And then you have one also, right?
Certified Home LLC.
Yeah.
I do property preservation. I work through certain management companies. We restore properties. We fix anything from floors, doors,
Mhm.
windows, light plumbing, electrical, what have you.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I just to real quick, and I think you guys will be able to touch on this because you spoke about something earlier where you said when you started these reunions, you went over to a park, very simple. You grab a couple barbecue grills, grab some cases, grab some friends, and y'all had something, and y'all just started. Talk about that mentality just to start something and not worry about all the complete, I have to figure every single detail out and it has to be like this and it has to look like this. Like talk about that mentality and the importance of just kind of just starting and not overthinking things all the time.
You know what, when we first started it, we had, like I said, about 5 people on the committee.
Mm-hmm.
And we would sit down maybe like twice a year and we would plan things out, and we would have fundraisers, and this went on for like 20 years or so, and it got overwhelming. You know, it was at a point I was almost like, man, this is it's too much for me right now.
Yeah.
This guy came through and he put it in motion. Where we're on autopilot now. You know, all they got to do is set a date, and everybody know what to do. We don't even have a meeting anymore. We don't have to raise funds anymore. We set a date. Every class know what to do, what foods they're gonna cook, what tent. We know exactly where we're gonna set up. My tent's gonna be here. It's on autopilot. All we gotta do now is just show up and have fun.
How did you create that process? How did you set it up where it's like, hey, it's just autopilot, it's just that easy now?
Well,
Clockwork.
Right.
Because what happened was it went from when he was saying, "Hey, man, it's a lot going on. We're doing a lot."
Yeah.
So then I too said, "Well, okay, if we was to get people involved, and we got some people involved, okay, and people were helping, but then as it grew and as it expanded." And we had to move to a different park because it had gotten too big. Then we needed more barbecue grills, so we had to go and rent equipment, okay, to get these grills out there. And so it got to the point that where we were like, man, we got to figure out how to, you know, maybe scale it back a little bit and have others jump in.
Yeah.
And so we ended up moving it from having to rent the equipment to turning it into a BYOB, because what we were doing was I was getting these grills out with Corn and I would get out there, set up stages and get all this equipment.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, everybody was literally gone.
Yeah.
And it'd just be me, him, and a few others. And we're like, man, what's going on? So we figured that, hey, okay, well, if we turn it into a BYOB instead of trying to cook for every class, because we were cooking for every class. Everybody donate some money to the pot.
Yeah.
And then we'll bring all the grills out. We'll do all the work. But, you know, what they as they say in the scripture, the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few.
Right. You was really feeling that.
So within the last 2 to 3 years, we moved to the format of every class is now responsible for cooking for themselves, which actually helps out because now everybody can cook what they want to cook. If you want to cook lobster tails or shrimp, I mean, you'd be surprised at what people are out there cooking out there now. Versus we just had a standard menu, you know, but now everybody can kind of do their own thing.
That's awesome. And honestly, it just shows, it goes back to that whole community aspect. And like, you need people in order to grow, and y'all got to be on the same page. And like, it seems like y'all had that just from going to tech. Y'all already had that community, and then you just had to put into the work like, hey, we need everybody to work in order for this to continue to grow.
Exactly.
I feel some type of way, man. I never got to experience that. Y'all adopt brothers from
we do.
high school from Chicago.
Come to the picnic. Come to the cookout next year. You're invited.
I'm invited?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can blend in with the 88 class of 88. Are they going to be there?
Yes.
We'll get you a purple shirt.
Hey, that's one of my favorite colors there.
Believe it or not, 25% of the people that are out there at the end of the day are friends and family.
Okay.
There are people who don't even go to Tech or alumni,
Yeah.
but they come. And so, we invite a lot of people that are friends and family. So you're more than welcome, Officer McClain.
Absolutely, yeah. And that was, like I said, I actually never even got to experience a reunion at all. Like, my school doesn't. I'm graduated from Milwaukee School of Languages. We don't really do reunions like that. So like I said, to be able to go out there and see the way that y'all embrace one another, that y'all talk to one another, and then also the same way that y'all embrace other people, y'all embrace y'all fellow neighbors. To me, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. One other thing, we just happened to stumble on the best weekend of the summer. You know, we started. It was a Father's Day weekend, and we kept it Father's Day weekend for 43 years, so everybody know when it is. Okay, and that's the weekend that jump starts the festivals. Ours is the first festival. It's a weekend before Summerfest, and then all the other festivals come after ours. So everybody who's been cooped up in the house all winter, they can't wait to get out and come to our cookout.
That's awesome. That's a blessing. Just want to say, thank you both again for coming on the show and just really, sharing more information about, how everything got started. It was really a blessing to be able to have y'all on the show.
Thank you.
Ralph, I don't know if you want to say anything to close things
Yeah,
out,
just
but
blessings going forward in your endeavors and all that you do, your personal
Yes.
companies and your work on a daily basis. And we definitely appreciate y'all coming through. And 2025, Father's Day weekend 2025.
Yep.
All right.
Hey, can I show you guys one thing?
Oh
before we
yeah,
get out
most
here, man?
definitely.
This is an awesome sweater, man. I just have to show you guys this right. This is how we used to rock it back in the
Okay.
days, right? All the city schools, they would go out and have these sweaters made.
That's
And
awesome.
you have all your medals. Oh, that's another thing I need to mention. See this medal here? That's my logo. That's my design, okay? They've been giving these out for 40 years in the city. That's my logo.
Wow.
But yeah,
No, that's awesome.
That is
It's
awesome.
look like so much detail.
That's how we
goes
rock
into-
it.
Turn
That's-
around, turn it
yeah,
back around.
that's how we
Yeah.
rocked it. That's how we rocked it at Tech.
Look at there.
The athletes will walk around with their sweaters and their
Yes.
medals pinned on them. Football, basketball. That's how we rocked it.
Oh,
That's awesome.
That's nice.
Look,
That's super
It's-
nice.
Tech is one of those schools that you just can't hate on because y'all got it all together. Y'all breathe so much love, so you can never hate on it.
Absolutely.
But
Thank you for gracing us with y'all presence, and we appreciate you. And like I said, blessings going forward. We definitely had a good show. This is a conversation.
absolutely, yep. All right, listeners, have a good one out there. God
Thanks for
bless.
having us.
Thank you.
God bless.